Looks like the work of a master. Evidence indicates that it's worthless like a terrorist, hard to capture the flow. Changes like a chameleon, blends like a friend and stabs you like a dad. Yo, what's up? Check this out. Yo, homicide is legal. Death is a penalty. One justifies the homicide when he dies in his own iniquity. It's the master of the mantis rapture coming at ya. We have an APB on an MC. Looks like the work of a master. Evidence indicates that it's worthless like a terrorist, hard to capture the flow. Changes like a chameleon, blends like a friend and stabs you like a dagger. Yo, what's up? Check this out. Yo, homicide is legal. Death is a penalty. One justifies the homicide when he dies in his own iniquity. It's the master of the mantis rapture coming at ya. We have an APB on an MC. Looks like the work of a master. Evidence indicates that it's worthless like a terrorist, hard to capture the flow. Changes like a chameleon, blends like a friend and stabs you like a dad.
Peace, everyone. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? As you see, the title is Judah of Nazareth. I'm going to do your Torah nights like Christ did the Torah when he was here. You want a belt to ass, debate, conversation, or whatever? Are you really ignorant, foolish? I ain't call you no fool. I said foolish. Lord, if I messed up, forgive me. But yes, we're not going to have it. You wanted to whoop Jesus Christ last night on your couch and do all that stuff you was doing. Man, do you know what you was doing, man? Do you know what you was calling down on you? Ryan, what's up? You want to come in? Because I see you spoke on the thing after me. It was like, hold up, man. What? But I told you he was over there. He was plotting. He was plotting. Are y'all all in the body of Christ, man? You got a Roman Catholic and a Hebrew only dude and this and that. And so are we the body of Christ? Carl Albert Davis' Israel doctrine, the true Israel of God is the body of Christ. I don't see them saying they are part of that or whatever. That's why on my website I say I have no affiliation with Hebrew Israelites, Christian, none of that stuff. I'm sovereign in myself. I'm sovereign in what I do because the Lord God of Israel give me sovereignty, and the American government give me the sovereignty through having a church, because a church is sovereign. They have their own autonomy and everything else. So what are we talking about? I'm going to have to teach y'all about the power of the church, because the power of the church is beyond American government conversation and stuff. It's what you have to do. But I know ain't no Torah nights got any churches. Y'all Torah, what did they have back there in the Torah days and all of that? And this Onias the third dude, he's an Edomite. You was sitting up there talking around them about Edomites, and you didn't even know that Orion the third was an Edomite. You didn't even know that. What's up, Brian?
What up, Pete? Oh, hold on. Yeah, peace, man. I didn't want to cut in if you were trying to, get your thoughts out.
Just creating content. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I just watched like 4.5 hours of that stream because obviously I saw my name in the title and I was like, what? What's going? Like, I mean, it was cool. It wasn't like disrespectful, so it is what it is. I knew he was going to react after last night where we disagreed about Obadiah, so that was cool. But I just wish he had hit me up on Facebook if he wanted me to join. You know what I mean? Because I fell asleep at like 11 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Same thing I told him. I went live. I started addressing ASAP. I was like, hey man, I see you whooping that couch and talking about Jesus and stuff. I wouldn't disrespect Jesus in the old or the new. And I believe he in the old, so why would I do it? But you was disrespectful.
Yeah, man. He doesn't, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. You know what I mean? Like he was wowing on that. Like, I think it's totally normal to be like, all right, I don't know if he's the Messiah because of how I view the Old Testament, but to start going full like Talmud, like Jesus is this, and this, and I'm going to do this, and this, going prodigy mob deep on him. You know what I mean? Like, that ain't good.
Woo! It ain't safe outside.
Word.
You in Japan, but hey, you forgot about how people react to stuff like that in America.
Yeah, man. It's me and you know what I mean? Like me and you know, like that's not gonna age well. He's gonna, God willing, he's gonna come to Christ and he's gonna look back at that, and the Lord's forgiven me for similar folly against him. So before I was a Christian, you know what I mean? I wasn't a Christian for 36 years. I'm only 40.
I was saying, F that church is hypocrites down there. I was wild. I was wild with my blasphemy, but I never blasphemed Jesus.
I never did that. I did say some dumb stuff listening to Prodigy, like said F. I won't even say it anymore, but I didn't go like, I'm going to do all that others belt to whatever. So I'm as guilty as he is, as far as like I've done something in the vein of that, which makes me as guilty as what he did. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to play like I haven't done that sin. I have.
No grudge, but when it was going on, I started talking. I was like, hold up, I ain't even going to use profanity. I got to keep profanity out of this.
Yeah. That's a serious test right there. You know what I mean? You want to be Peter and pull out your sword. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? But that's why I tried to hit them with some of the scriptures after, like with Peter and stuff, because they got the whole, like, their doctrine's just so different than ours. You know what I mean? Like they got the.
What was the whole Edomite thing about? Can you tell me?
What happened really was he brought out at the end the book of Obadiah, and for him and his doctrine, he's going to tie Obadiah into like Ezekiel 35 and some of Jeremiah. He basically has like the Gog and Magog war with Edom being involved in it. And he says like Esau is like the last boss. I'm not going to try to summarize what he thinks, because I watched the show today and that's about all I can. I'll probably not put it together the way he actually believes it, so I don't want to misrepresent him. But the verse in Obadiah 121, which is, there's only 21 verses in Obadiah, says like saviors will go up onto Mount Zion, and like let me just look at it. They'll like, I'll just look at it so I don't misquote the verse. But
I mean, it kind of, because I went to sleep and I woke back up and I heard the Edomite argument and stuff, and I was like, oh, we got some racist stuff going on over here now. And I was like, I'm going to bag out, but I'm going to sit here and listen.
Yeah. No, the Obadiah 121 is Savior shall go up to Mount Zion to rule Mount Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's. So he kept like yelling at me, like, admit that Esau's in the land, like fighting the Israelites. And the way I'm reading this verse, I can see where he's like coming with that interpretation. Savior shall go up to Mount Zion to rule Mount Esau, and the kingdom shall be the Lord's. But you could also just look at it as like a symbolism of like Jacob, getting the birthright from Esau finally, when Israel, because it's saying to rule Mount Esau is the confusing part, because that's not in Israel. That's in Mount Seir, it was the Seir. Like to rule Mount Esau isn't in Israel, but it is obviously a symbolism of like.
Well,
yeah.
His folly got built to get put to his ass because he basically called me out. And see, I did this. I was like, Torah Knight, stop running and adding people, because he's running from me and he's adding people to my conversation that hadn't asked to be a part of it or want to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it too. It's like me and you have our own individual perspectives, and he kind of is lumping us in together, and he wants us to like go against Torah Knights, and Torah
Yeah,
Knights is more like on the
the
same
body of
page.
Christ thing, I knew exactly what he was saying. See, like I said, I said it at some point. He let Devon bring the KKK and say, "Carl running with the KKK." Like, what the fuck? To be on just a plain old car. I'm a fucking black man. What I look like running with the KKK? I'll be a fucking ignorant Negro.
I didn't.
That's how they base their debate and stuff. So I never let them do it and all that other stuff. And I'm like, Israel is the church. And all the way back in Egypt, if you're a fucking Torah Knight, you should know the church started in Egypt.
Yeah, no.
And it's like, wow, what the hell? These people is crazy and Sinetta crazy ass, allowing crazy shit to go on and stuff. I'm like, man, the community is about to get fucked. See, but old girl that was up there, the queen, she like, Carl, you be too sensitive. No, I'm not sensitive. I'm trying to make sure that it stays proper and in order. And people out here don't do stuff proper in order.
Yeah, well, Sanetta's I've got nothing but good things to say about him personally. So your experience is your own. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I understand.
I'm not trying to get you on here to blast him or talk bad about him.
Yeah, no, nobody can do that.
I love the nigga. I saved his life. I called the feds and told them niggas was trying to kill him. So I love Sinetta. I got love for him, but I hate what the fuck he do in the community because it fucks up the community.
Oh man, I don't want to get on that like back and forth about that because I would think he's changed a lot of lives, so many lives that has put people on the correct path and showed them there's like a whole other way we could express ourselves. And
we can say that. We can say that. I mean that you can say them good attributes about him.
Yeah,
other attributes that's deadlier than them. Them good attributes ain't. To me, it ain't shit. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, but nobody's perfect, and we all give good and bad out at times. But I think as an overall, it can't be nothing but a net positive. In hindsight, you miss somebody like that when they're gone, and you think about.
See, the thing about me and Sinetta, we both Aries, we both fire signs, we both everything. And what happened is the and Raw Squad guy went and lied to him, so I was talking about him when he was letting me on his platform. So he took it personally, like I would have took it personally. What? Yeah. This nigga saying what? Nah, he took it personally. And so we got off at a bad feet. And when he came over to my channel and was talking, I was like, well, I ain't no bitch ass nigga. We about to get it in. And so we started getting it in, and it caused this thing between us. And for as I'm concerned, I'm a man. I done forgave a nigga. Like I said, I saved his life. But he was doing shit, and I was like, I wish I wouldn't have saved your motherfucking life now because you doing bitch ass nigga shit, and we don't need more bitch ass niggas in the community.
Yeah, so, you're cold dude for saying some shit like that. I ain't gonna lie. Like the way I heard you just say that, I'm like, yo, Carl, man, come on, that ain't the born again Carl. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I try to be cold, but these niggas make me hot. And then I'm not playing the lukewarm. You make me hot. I'm gonna tell you what the fuck I gotta say in the way I gotta say it. See, even him, Judah, last night he was bringing up his daughter and stuff. Tommy Sotomayor did that, and I said, I'm not going to attack your daughter. Leave your daughter out this conversation because the old me would have went at your daughter.
Yeah, listen, man. Me and you, we think a lot alike as far as like we read between the lines on what people are really trying to say. But I'm like you too, and I respect the way you go about it because you call it out. You know what I mean? You're just like, yo, listen, let's not dance around what you mean. Let's get to it. And go from there. Let's communicate directly and say what you're trying to say. Just say it,
Yeah. I'm a blunt person. I'm bold as a lion, like the books say. The weak and the cowardly, they run. He was talking. I'm gonna run from shit, man. Set the date, set the time. We're gonna get it in, and I'm gonna try to be less than when I am now. Because when I turn on, man, I turn on.
Oh, I got the. I noticed that much myself so far. I noticed that much myself. That's why last night, you were right. Like technically, he was saying like you don't do something technically by saying somebody else did it. You know what I mean? Like he was like throwing you as not
Yeah,
doing
that
it.
was the Hebrew dude. He was
Yeah,
like, Judah Nazareth know the Torah. It's
yeah,
like, look, I don't know the Torah.
yeah.
All you
Well,
had to say was yes, and you know the Torah too. But
yeah.
I heard what you saying. I'm listening, and I see how you set it up. Only Judah Nazareth over here know the Torah because he cleaned me a Torah night. But he don't know no fucking Torah, just like your Hebrew only shit. You don't know fucking Torah.
Yeah, you were right on what he was like inferring, but at the same time, just because he didn't say it, I was trying to be a mediator and just like, yo, man,
I
just
understood. I was like, I hear you, Ryan, but
you know what I mean?
I
I
know what
was like,
this motherfucker was doing. I'm gonna get in his ass.
yeah, that's why I was like, come on, just give him a pass. You know what I mean? Like he didn't say it directly, so try to like give him a pass. You know, but I knew it. You weren't wrong. I heard it too, like the way it was worded. You know what I mean? Like if people give to charity and then somebody's like, there's four of us in a room, and then somebody's like, I know John gives to charity. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what about the other two in the room? Like, do we give to charity? You know what I mean?
Boatyard in Chicago, AAA boatyard. So
Yeah.
I've been around white people and I know how they do what they do. So I mean,
Yeah.
I let it frustrate me, but I see it. I'm not blind. I call it out.
Nah, he's a cool dude though. That's the other reason.
I believe it, but
Yeah, that's the other reason I was trying to just be like, all right, just let that one go. You know what I mean? Just like
what happened is this weekend, me and my family together, and you think I'm high. I got people that you be like, what the fuck? And they've been arguing and fighting and stuff, so it made me look. I had to sit back and look, and I was like, who gonna give up and this and that? And then after they got through arguing and fighting, it was like, well, you gotta count the cost of the argument of the fight. And if you want to win it, you might have to do some shit you wouldn't normally do to win it, and you hurt somebody that's family at that point. So
yeah, see, he had me included in like I'm not keeping the Torah too, but me and him have had so many discussions that I didn't take it as personal because he knows where I'm coming from. But you actually do try to keep the old law different than I do. So you keep the Levitical food laws and stuff. I don't live by that. So like it was more personal to you.
Like, hold up, man. Yeah. I don't know you. You don't know me. You better calm that shit down.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem when you don't know what. Like somebody said something. I forget who said it about him the other day, but I defended him because I don't know who said it. I forget who. So I think it was some Gideon maybe said it. I don't remember, so I don't want to put a name on it. But they said like he doesn't keep the Torah, the Old Testament. And I said, yo, he's got the stuff on his doorposts. Like you don't know who you're talking to. So like that's basically how we all should go about
it. He really effed me up though. He asked me was I keeping the incest laws or whatever, and not sleeping with my family or whatever. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You talking about sleeping with your family and shit.
Yeah. You guys got off. You guys need to start over. You guys got off on the wrong foot. But like I said, I've argued with everybody I've ever had on my panel, basically. So it's like we all have, you know what I mean? So it's not something we can't all get past too. You know what I mean?
They try to lump all the law together, especially him. When Paul say law, it's division in the laws. God made division because he told it to you at different times. It's divided. If he tell you about covering up your poop, that's what that law is about. What it got to do with the rest of the law? If he tell you don't sleep with a woman when she on, what they got to do with the rest of the laws? What he got to do with dressing? And I thought it was silly to come at me like that, but hey.
Yeah, it's always a mistake to judge anybody. You know, anybody you don't know, you should never judge them. You know, the first second you judge them, you make yourself, an error.
But that's what biblical stuff is about. That's why, like, my family, it hit politics, and I was like, leave this politics stuff alone, because y'all wilding out in here. And then I had to look, because my spirit is very similar to theirs. And I was like, I don't cut it off before time. Like, before it gets too far.
Nah, I'm the same, dude. I recognize it because I'm the same person as far as communication's concerned. I'm like mad direct, and it's gotten me in a lot of situations in my life that probably aren't the best situations that I could have avoided. You know what I mean?
I heard you finna stop debating. I was like, oh, that's good, but
I'm trying to do whatever is righteous from God. You know what I mean? And I felt like God a long time ago. I was about to do a debate. Like I had a whole PowerPoint ready. Like you know how long PowerPoints take. I had put a few hours in, but the whole time before I even started doing the PowerPoint, I already felt in my heart like God was telling me like, don't do it. Don't do it. So I literally canceled the debate, told the person I was going to debate, like God made me not want to do it. And they never even gave me enough. They're a Christian, but they never even gave me enough respect back to say like, that's good, man. I'm glad you're following what God put in your heart. Instead, they probably went and told people like I'm afraid of them and a coward and stuff. So I've swallowed that bitter pill of my own ego and pride and public. Other people heard the debate challenge and stuff. So I have no problem doing that and trying to serve God, but at the same time, that could have just been the end of me ever debating anybody, and maybe it probably was God's message to me to never do it.
Now that we over here, let's talk about the conversation I was trying to have with you. Like debating Hebrew Israelites is like the biggest thing. If a Christian do it, they doing it because people don't know nothing about these Hebrew Israelites. These Hebrew Israelites have been trying to get recognition forever. And when people get out here and recognize them and debate them on their topics get out here, their conversation get out here, and then they start spreading through the world. It's like the Pandora box.
Yo, my bad. JJ called me while we were live, and I told him I'm over on your channel. He said send the link. I should just tell him to come over to the channel and put the link in the chat, right? Or do you want? I don't know if you want to deal with him or not. Like,
I can put it in yours. I can put it in here. I can put it in yours.
Oh, okay. Just come. I'll just tell him right now. All right. Let me just send the link from my phone to the thing. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna find your channel right quick so I can put the link in there.
Yeah, he just called me while we were like just started. So
I'm finna find it because I see your channel thing. So
yeah, I'm sharing it
over there, so I can hit the link. I come over there and put the link in.
Oh no! I told him to come over. I just sent your page, so he should come over to here. So
okay, I'm just saying, you see how when you link yours up to mine, I can get to your page real easy, just hitting where you got the link at, and go put it in there. And
yeah, I'm not good with the technical stuff, so do it however you know how to do it, because I'm bad with technical stuff. Yeah, here he is. He's here.
All right, so who's here now? You got
JJ 7000 Mandinka Mali's JJ.
Hey JJ, see me and JJ been in it.
What, you guys got some history of yourselves? Of course.
I got history with everybody on the internet.
I know.
The Nazareth came saying he was the prince last night and she the queen. What's your part? I'm the king.
Yeah, I know. Trust me,
king of the YouTube streets. That's me.
Yeah, I figured you probably knew who each other were. That was a fair guess I had in my mind.
You can come on in, JJ.
Nah, that ain't true, man. Fall back on that, JJ. I ain't with that. He didn't slander me. I ain't slandering him. Come on, man. Let's not make it personal. It's just disagreements about scripture. You know what I mean? It ain't personal.
It do get personal though, because see, unlike you, we know each other. We've known each other for a while. All of us. If they say they Hebrew Israelites, they know about this Israelite Christian. They don't fuck with this Israelite Christian. Let me show you. The title of the show was "Stop Running and Adding People," right? You know he came to the show running.
Yeah, nah. Listen, I'm with you on that, because we all don't want to have to defend other things that we don't agree with from somebody else. So just like just deal with this individually, and that's not like us being scared or anything. It's just it's easier for everybody, and it's just more reasonable to defend what you believe and not have to, defend everybody that you don't know. If somebody's a Christian down the street, doesn't mean we're going to agree on everything in the Bible.
Yeah, because I done made it very clear that there's different type of Christians.
Yeah, me and you are different. Yeah.
You have denominations that separate, and people believe different things. So my whole thing is I'm not a Roman Catholic Christian, and I'm not part of the denominations that broke away from the Roman Catholic Church. I'm an Israelite Christian, what the Roman Catholic Church killed before they took over Christianity and started running the world. That's why I say I'm an Israelite Christian.
Yeah, that dude on my channel last night, he had never been on my channel before, so it's good that my channel's spreading in the algorithm. I'm cool with that. That's a good thing that all this, all these debates and stuff have helped my channel grow and going on Judah's channel and stuff. So I never met that dude before last night, but he, him saying like the Pope is like the second to, he's getting God's word. I don't agree with any of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I seen you then. Let me try to answer this. Number one, sister, the Bible says, study to show yourself approved. Whatever God's trying to tell you, if you're studying that Bible, the words will come out that book. It'll hit your heart and cut you just right. And you will get your answer and you'll be like, thank you. So reading and studying helps when God trying to talk to you. Now, you can go to somebody and talk to them, but they might mislead you. But if you take time in that Bible, the truth will come out that Bible. It'll cut you like nothing else. Hopefully that helped, but if that didn't, you can answer if you would like.
No, that was exactly how I would answer it. To lady in the chat, that question. You need to be in the scriptures to get the positive 100% it's from God. If you're just living your life, walking down the street, any of your thoughts may or may not be from God. You'll never really know on that, or you will. I won't say never know. You'll know on that sometimes. But when you're reading the scriptures and you get a certain thought, you can tell it'll hit you differently than any other time than if it was from God or not. The word of God is the most, powerful thing.
Yeah, you see people lying on the word so people can't get it. Well, the scriptures change every time you read it. How did it change? I bet you if you read it today and go read it 10 years from now, it'll read the same way. The way that you taking it in is one thing.
Yeah.
What up, Judah?
Hey, what's going on, family?
What up?
Peace.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right. Yeah, I see Judah over there clout chasing like he normally do. See, the thing with this guy, the best part of his debate is before the debate, because he don't ever show up to the debate.
Well, he called Chris Harris. He see, before I debated Chris Harris, the whole thing was Chris Harris always running. And they that debate.
Yeah. They stay running their mouth, they running their feet. That's why, it's to the point where you shouldn't even give him any energy. Because can y'all name the last time Judah debated somebody?
He gonna debate me on the 31st. So that's why I said, how many times have I been over to your channel trying to get a debate and you trying to put people in my debate and all that stuff and tag team and stuff? It's like, I'm a man. I came over here and talked to you, asked you about the debate. You came to my channel and I want to debate. Fuck all that bitch ass lying and wrestling shit.
He came to your channel talking crazy.
Yeah, he came to my channel because Sinetta would never let him debate me.
Yep,
so me and the Queen was over here talking one day and he came on the channel and like, Carl, let's have a debate. And I'm like, yeah. That's like 2 months ago. I'm like, how the fuck we can't get a debate? I'm all about title and set the date. We can debate. It ain't even shit to talk about.
See, you're an old school debater like me. I ain't got time to sit on the panel with you for 30 minutes going back and forth. Time and date, please. I'm out.
That's it.
That's what Judah do though, because he called himself when we don't sign another about 4 days ago, I think. And signed like, what's up with you and Judah? Oh man, he running from me. I like, bro, set the time and date. He wouldn't give a time and date. Just like Nepal, wouldn't give a time and date. So they just selling wolf tickets, man.
That's but see, the whole thing is me and Sinetta been in the same business. I started my own shit. He can say y'all did this and y'all got a debate league and shit. I was over there debating every day on Blog Talk with the and Rock Squad and all them niggas. I was doing the same shit that he called himself doing. So he never had no power over me. And he always felt some kind of way about me competing with him. And it's like, I'm not competing with you.
Oh, yeah.
It's your fault that your ass won't get me over there on your shit and make money off of the nigga that all he do is debate and talk shit every day. You're ignorant by not using me.
Right. He don't know talent. He don't know how to use his talent, man, to help, the show. He got in the pot running everybody off the damn, show because she jealous of everybody. She want to be the star attraction.
Yeah, but I don't really want to shit on.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with that personally. So please,
he deserves shitting, but I don't feel like shitting on.
Whoa! Hold up for a minute. What'd you say, bro?
Me, I got nothing but good things to say about Sa Neter because my experiences with him are my own experiences with him, and he's been nothing but cool with me.
Whoa! Because I'm talking about him. Ain't got nothing to do with you or Izzy. This my thing, bro.
Yeah, but you know how it is. Yeah,
I mean, bro, see, that's the thing. See, that's your problem. You ain't got to bite your lip for nobody in this goddamn community. I said what I said. Izzy said what he said. But that don't mean they got anything to do with me.
So I know, but you know how the
no, watch this. Fuck Sa Neter. I can say that.
Don't say that. That's
why?
you.
I don't kiss his ass like Judah Nazareth do. Booty popping for him.
Hey, JJ. My name is Israel Doctrine of Carl Abbott. You see it right up there on the screen. Don't call me no fucking government agent, Izzy. That's that Mike.
I call you that, my fault, family.
Yeah, but not JJ. All I'm saying is people make clips, and then you're talking, and then they see my name and Carl's name up here, and then it gets perverted and twisted.
Hey, listen, bro, you better get up out of the community, man.
No, I ain't saying
run for the hills right now, bro.
No.
It's well known that he's not talking shit about Sa Neter. It's well known that I just say I don't feel like talking too much shit about Sa Neter. Cause if he get mad and act like he want to talk shit, then he gonna turn on the war. He don't want to turn that war on again. So I doubt if he be like Carl over there talking shit about me. But I mean, I don't want to have to fuck him up. That's all I'm saying. Cause see, I'm bold like that.
Hey, look, I took his champion's belt, man. She's trash, bro. Trash.
Well, let's talk more Bible. What Bible? What you?
Okay, here's the thing. Here's my thing. Deuteronomy 28:68. Carl.
Go ahead. You and Ryan can have a back and forth right quick if you want to, because he said y'all with that Deuteronomy shit.
It's like
you cut out a little, JJ. Say it again if you can.
Oh, okay. Deuteronomy 28. Yeah, Deuteronomy 28:68. What's your thoughts on that? That debate that Ryan had with Zion Lex.
But my thoughts, I don't fuck with the curses to identify myself, because I ain't none of those curses for us. I'm concerned. We as a nation under a curse and all that, but I don't claim no curses. That's why I don't claim to be no Hebrew Israelite. What did they used to say back in the days? We finna go to work like Hebrew slaves. I ain't no fucking Hebrew slave. Me and the master gonna have a problem if he try to make me a Hebrew slave and work me like I'm one. Nah, master, I ain't hearing that shit.
Yeah. I want to hear your opinion on how you think the debate went with Zion, because honestly, obviously, I would have changed how I did my third round because I spent a little more time on the Igbo than I really needed to because he didn't really bring out much information about them. But yeah, what'd you think? What'd you think overall?
I mean, to be honest, I didn't see it all, so I can't give a full assessment. But on the topic, I can make an
A
assessment.
statement.
Yeah, your own
Topic,
view of it.
because the topic is vague. Deuteronomy,
Yeah.
28:68 do not disapply to one people nation. It don't. You put anybody in them curses. Like, what about the one about the crops? First of all, ain't none of you niggas got no goddamn crops. How it fit you? Niggas, y'all city niggas, right? I mean, they got one like depression and somebody gonna take your wife. All that that can happen to any nation. You cannot use that as proof that you're an Israelite. You got to go and dig deep. You got to go to Africa. You got to connect with some of them tribes, some of them sub clans, not all the Igbo. All the Igbo are not claiming to be Israelites. You got to see which one of them sub clans is connected to saying, "Oh yeah, our oral history." They say we coming from the east. We practice, what they call that circumcision, blah blah blah. But
yeah, that's why I kept
never going to do that. Go ahead.
No, my bad, cutting you. My bad. That's why I kept asking him about giving me a number, and dude acting like the number was an irrelevant topic, was bugged out because I asked him over and over again, like, do exactly what you just said. Like, if you're gonna say the Igbo, there's 35 million of them, and they got all these different voodoo, Santeria, all that crazy polytheistic stuff. Like, I can admit if there's like a segment of in the population, like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, if there's like 500,000, a million that claim to be doing the Israelite stuff, let's talk about them. Like, separate it, like, work through it like normal people.
Right.
And he kept just ducking the question and acting like it was a crazy question, and it was very relevant because there's 12.5 million people in the slave trade.
Did Sinetta call that nigga a Hebrew Israelite or Israelite?
I don't know, man. But let me answer this question, Israel. And see, I'm shocked that Zion Lex didn't do that because he's a historian. He studies Africa. I mean, he could have been like
Zion Lex a fucking Hebrew Israelite. Hebrew Israelites deceive people.
Yo, what was crazy was he started the debate talking about dual fulfillment in his first round. Like, saying like Deuteronomy 28:68 could happen to the ancient Israelites, but then could still happen in the transatlantic slave trade. And then by the third round, he was acting like it never happened because he said, Ryan's showing you moving logs on boats, and he didn't show you any Hebrew Israelites going on slaves. And then he went in his whole third round proving that it wasn't Rome either. So his whole argument was changed by the third round. He argued against his own premise that it was a dual fulfillment in the first round, and then he made it a zero fulfillment, and he's claiming the first fulfillment of Deuteronomy 28:68 was the transatlantic slave trade, which is 1,500 years after Jesus and is literally 2,800 years after Moses told those words to the original audience, which were the children of the actual Israelites who were involved in the Exodus. That is so insane to me that he would even claim that as a thesis, that the fact I lost on the vote just on that point alone shows that the audience was just loving his lies and his emotion.
People, you'll lose here. But watch me start some shit. So, JJ, what are you, a Hebrew Israelite or an Israelite now? Can I get that statement?
Oh, yeah. Can you hear me? I'm a truth seeker and a free thinker. I'm no longer labeling myself in some kind of religious type organization or just saying that I'm a Hebrew.
So Hebrew Israelites is a religious organization.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Don't you think? Yeah. Look at this acronym.
It has religious connotation all up in it.
Well, yeah. Let me rephrase that. Like I said, man, I've been in the forefront, battling for this Hebrew Israelite thing for over a decade, and it seemed like the people my own people that's supposed to be reading from the same book or in the same, spiritual doctrine, it's like they're taking things out of context. We're gonna have slaves in the kingdom. All that, man. Come on, bro.
White women.
It's embarrassing to be even. And that's embarrassing to be just tied to that. So hey, you can't label me in a box. You know what I'm saying? I'm a free thinker, the truth seeker. Now I believe at a higher power. I believe there's a creator, but the way these guys teaching the Israel doctrine, the Tzariach and them, you know, all them camps, that God is racist. That's one of the most dumbest thing I heard in my life.
The link is at the top. I also put it in the chat. Find the link and come in the room. Go up and down the thing, and you will see the chat StreamYard, and you can come in. Rabbi Lewis, is that the Rabbi Lewis that I know?
Yeah, he comes from my channel most likely.
Yeah.
Hey man, I ain't got time for no infomercial today, bro.
Yeah, no selling anything today.
No, we ain't gonna do that. Rabbi Lewis already
That's
knows
what he trying to do, man. You still owe me $10 from advertising. I played your commercial.
No. Stop all that. Rabbi Lewis gonna keep it here and play correctly. He gonna get his ass off.
JJ, no soliciting, right? No soliciting on the door, right?
Use furniture. No loitering today.
Yeah, he's all right, dude, but he can get on that. But he showed me how to publish a book, so I ain't mad at him. He taught me how to publish on Amazon for free, so I'm grateful he did that for me, for real.
Hey, he makes a new book every week, man. I ain't never seen nothing like that.
Yeah, he does it. He is an author of a lot of books. Come on in, Louis. Just
You just had one 2 days ago. You got another book? Shit.
The links on Ryan page. I'm finna come over there and put it up again. Y'all gotta learn what's the dominant page and how to get in the room and stuff, because y'all be acting like y'all know how this shit work, man. This shit work the same way every time. Y'all gotta, man, get up off that shit, man. That's man. That's
how you gotta do, Rabbi Lewis. You and goddamn indigenous black man. Yeah, I don't know about y'all. Y'all act like y'all can't just push. I gotta hold the phone for indigenous black man. You know, he can't.
Yeah, y'all need to stop playing on the internet if you can't spend some money and learn about the device.
Come on,
this
man.
StreamYard, everybody got StreamYard.
Right.
And everybody should know how to work it. If you don't know how to work it, fuck it. I do the videos and show you what the fuck you gotta do, but
make a tutorial. Hey, come on. Anyway, man, yeah, but that Deuteronomy 28. I mean, and then see, Ryan, the strategy I would have did if I was defending your position. I mean, I would have just came out with the curses. I would have listed them all.
Yeah.
I would have read them all, and I'd be like, look, these curses don't just apply to African Americans. They don't. Can you prove this is exclusive to African Americans? I think not. Then I would have went to the next. I would have went to all of them. That'd have been my first round.
Yeah, you're right. I had it in my presentation. I had them all highlighted and everything. That should have been my third round instead of the Igbo. I should have just gone through them all and said, this fits anybody in the world. Somebody in China can say this. So why is this 68 specifically different? So I totally dropped the ball on that. I 100% agree with you. 100%.
But did I not mention that to you before?
No, I had that. I didn't have enough time to do everything I wanted to do. I had that in my presentation. I can show you it right now on my PowerPoint. It's in there. I dropped the ball with the way how much time I put into the Igbo in the third round was a mistake for sure.
1 second,
y'all. Rabbi Lewis in the building, y'all.
1 second, y'all, so we can get some order, please.
Yeah.
I'm trying to unmute you, but you can mute yourself. Unmute yourself, Rabbi Lewis.
Hey, shalom, guys. Shalom, Ryan. Shalom, Carl. Shalom to JJ.
Okay, now let's try to start the conversation over again. At a point.
Ryan, how you been, brother? How's your book selling?
Life is good, man. We about this conversation and stuff. They said they don't want you doing all that stuff over here. So we're gonna leave all that conversation for personal time.
You guys hear me?
Man, will you please stop talking? You're going to have a personal conversation with him some other day. We talking Bible here today. So please, let's get on Bible. Go ahead.
Yeah, God, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Ryan, how you been, brother? Good to see you.
Yeah, same to you. I'm all right. Same old.
Oh, man, it's been a while, brother.
Yeah, it's been a minute for sure. Like, I we've had good times and bad times, Louis, so I don't have anything bad about you or personal against you at all. It's just you got a little too much for me at times where you're just like, you go in on certain things and you kind of take the topic off, take this conversation off the topic we're on. So it's just like every time you showed up, the topic would just go wherever you wanted to take it. And that gets hard when you're trying to do certain topics at times. And you want let people come on, but you know they're going to end up, if we're talking about basketball and every time you come on, we're going to end up talking about, something else. You're going to talk about baseball. Eventually,
Reprove them later, please. Reprove them later.
Yeah.
Do the Deuteronomy 28 conversation. Let's try to find some Bible conversation since we all claim that we Bible, Torah, or whatever people claim.
Well, I'm a free thinker, truth seeker. Now here's my question: why is Judah Nazareth? What Bible verse or scripture do he have a problem with you, Ryan? If he was just using
we definitely disagree about the eschatology of when certain events occurred in history. So he thinks, like in Obadiah, that battle never occurred yet. He doesn't think the curses, not the curses, but the prophecies in Ezekiel 35. And also, I'm assuming the curses to the other countries, I doubt he thinks those occurred either, because if he doesn't think they, like Ezekiel 35's prophecies against Edom, if he doesn't think those occurred, then there's prophecies against Egypt, there's prophecies against Ammon, there's prophecies against Tyre, against Sidon, against Moab. I believe all those have been fulfilled by the time of Christ. Otherwise, our God is basically a false prophet, because he said, I'm going to do these things in the time of Ezekiel, which is literally the Babylonian captivity time frame, 600 BC roughly. And we're in 2025. So if God still has not done those things, I think he's almost passing the Deuteronomy test for a false prophet. So for me, God did all those things historically. And by the time of Jesus, those things had all got accomplished. But Judah thinks a lot of those things still are in the future, at least the Edomite stuff for sure, Ezekiel 35 and Obadiah. So I won't speak about the Egypt ones and all the other countries I named, but that's our big disagreement where we're at.
Obadiah, what's the chapter and verse he's going from?
Well, Obadiah is only one book. It's only one chapter, 21 verses. It's a short book. But yeah, we were just not seeing it the same. Like it's a big book in his doctrine, and for me, it's like one of those books where I want it in the Bible. I don't want any Bible book removed, so I don't want it to be misunderstood. But I said that book could not even be in my Bible, and nothing about the way I practice my faith is going to change, because it's not a fundamental book for anything I practice within the faith.
Can I say something to that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so okay. Sorry, I'm like, okay. So can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
So
we'll hear you. Please don't ask that again. Speak if you can't be heard. I'll be like, are you speaking?
All right, certainly.
Please,
so you're under the persuasion that Obadiah was fulfilled?
Under my doctrine, yes, I believe
when
all
was
those.
It fulfilled?
I can't point to the exact day, but I know within history it overlaps with the book of Amos. It overlaps with the book of Ezekiel. So the Persians started the destruction of the Edomites, and then the Nebuchadnezzars, or however you pronounce it, ended up taking their land. So God took away their land. So if they don't have their land anymore, that's a pretty good start to saying God fulfilled the punishment towards them when they took advantage of them. When
let me chime in on that if I could.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say something right quick. It was fulfilled in 70 AD. In 70 AD, the Edomites disappeared from the history books because they took on a new identity. They took on Israel identity, and Israel took on no identity. They got scattered throughout the world. Now,
that's not true. That's not true. Yeah, two things to that. So first thing, if you read, you ever heard of H.G. Wells' work? The scholar H.G. Wells?
No, I spoke with scholars.
He said that the Khazarian Empire, the Khazarian Empire converted to Judaism in Europe. We're familiar with the Khazarian hypothesis, correct?
Nope.
No, what do you mean no?
I mean, I've heard of the Jews that are Khazarians from Zion Lex briefly and how they're converts, but where are you going? You're just saying vague words.
Yeah, so according to the Khazarians, the Khazarian Empire, they came from Petra. According to H.G. Wells' work, they came from Petra, which is in where the Edomites were living. They were actually Edomites, according to H.G. Wells.
You're trusting the man.
Huh?
You're trusting the man when the Bible said thou should not trust man.
Okay, second thing, and so it was fulfilled 70
That's
AD.
my question. Good way to say second thing and try to run, but stop.
All right, go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother.
Good question. You trusting in whatever you call it, that scholar. I don't trust no goddamn scholar. If they say they're Israelite Christian, and I don't know no scholar that says they're Israelite Christian.
Second thing I was gonna say, if you
it's not Israelite.
Do you know who Hadrian was? Emperor Hadrian.
I told you I don't fuck with scholars, so I don't know who they are.
Yeah, Ryan and JJ. You know who Hadrian was, right?
Yeah. See, one thing with you, Lewis, that I do want you to just change if you can, just out of like communication for us to get further faster, is you kind of like hit us with trivia instead of just telling us your view and giving the information. Like if you're going to present the information about whatever you're referring to, don't make it like a Jeopardy question where you're trying to make us look dumb if we don't know your obsolete trivia question. Just say what you're saying, and then if you make a persuasive argument, we'll look into it more if we're unaware, or we'll just take the part of the argument that applies and have the conversation. So go ahead.
Right, so it's going to be 70 AD because there was an emperor, Roman emperor. He's the predecessor of Hadrian. The Hadrian is the one who sacked Jerusalem. This is after 70 AD, around the Sabbath Bar Kokhba revolution. Right? So he sends letters to the rabbis. You know what he asked? He said, "Am I an Edomite? I'm scared. Can you guys see me? Okay." He was like, "Am I an Edomite? Because I read Obadiah, and it says that the Edomites are going to go to hell." So he's like, "Am I an Edomite? I'm scared I'm an Edomite." And he was a Roman emperor. Interesting stuff. Very interesting. Second thing, like I was saying earlier, the Khazarian Empire converted to Judaism in the 6th, 7th century. And according to H.G. Wells' book, they came from Petra. They were Edomites. I
will give you a compliment, Lewis. You are a good historian because I have learned things from conversations with you. I won't say that I haven't. So I respect your information as far as history is concerned. I just think sometimes you're connecting history to doctrines that doesn't really correlate. So you'll use factual information like you just did, but then you'll kind of build a doctrine around it, and the doctrine doesn't fit just because the history is true. You know what I mean? That's what I'll say.
I'm gonna come over here and explain who the Edomites are, because everybody think they know, but they have no idea. I didn't have no idea once upon a time, but I had to sit down and study to show myself approved. I got the last 2 million years. I got history books, and the history books tell you exactly what's going on. Because in 70 AD, when Titus destroyed Jerusalem and the temple and stuff, can we all agree that that happened in 70 AD?
No. Titus and Vespasian were Edomites.
Hey, I didn't ask you about none of that. I said, can we agree?
No, we can't, because Vespasian was an Edomite.
Well, if you don't want to agree, you're on record that you don't.
Hold on, brother. I said Vespasian was an Edomite, according to the Talmud.
I didn't ask no race or nothing. I asked it Titus. I wasn't talking about Vespasian. I said Titus. I believe I'm saying the right shit, and it needs to be dealt with.
I agree. That Lewis, it's an agree or disagree question.
That was his son.
I agree.
Hold on, brother. Titus and Vespasian were father and son. That was his son, brother. According to the Talmud, Vespasian was an Edomite.
Smart. You too smart. You're over smart. You take the simplest thing and stretch it out too far and put too much shit in it. See, I'm not a smart nigga. I'm not smart. I just know some things. And I'm a state some things that I know to be factual through history and everything. And you call it a fucking lie if you want to. It don't bother me. But the history books say that in 70 AD, Titus went in there and destroyed the goddamn place.
Yeah, but Titus was an Edomite, brother. According to the Talmud, he was an Edomite.
If you want to start a debate or have a debate, we can do that shit after the show. But I don't think you want to have a fucking debate over it.
Brother, it's in the Talmud. The Talmud says Titus and Vespasian were Edomite.
Do you want to have a debate or not? Because, like I said, we don't need these monkey wrenches and shit thrown in the conversation. If it's a problem, He said, "Well, right after this, nigga, we gonna argue this shit. Now, if you want to argue it, we can set it up and argue, but I'm not here to argue that shit right now."
Yeah, Lewis, like for real, this is kind of where I was saying before we began the conversation. I was just like trying to keep it on topic because the thing is, the topic is, was the temple destroyed in 70 AD? And then you keep mentioning like, is he an Edomite? Is he this? Is he that? Is he that? That's irrelevant if he destroyed the temple. He could be Bruce Jenner and dress up like a woman, but he still destroyed the temple in 70 AD. So you're trying to steer the conversation in a topic that's not the question, man. So let's just keep it moving, and you know what I mean. Respect the host. You're on his channel. You know what I mean. That's it.
Certainly, yeah. See, the temple was sacked in 70 AD.
All right, no doubt. So we keep it moving.
Okay.
But like I said, Vespasian was an Edomite, according to the Talmud. He was an Edomite, and he was not
I
a
can't
Jew.
say that shit, basically, please. It's fucking up the conversation. It seems you don't understand what's fucking up a conversation because you fucks up conversations real easy. And I love you, but damn. Now, when he destroyed the temple, they took Israel away. That's what Obadiah is saying. When your brother was trotted off through the world, you took his place. You took his houses and everything that they left behind, y'all took. That's why Onias the third, that nigga's a fucking Edomite. I bet you he after 70 AD in his priesthood and all that shit is Edomite stuff.
Well, the Maccabees were Edomites. I mean, if you go to the prophecy in Daniel, it says the robbers of thy people shall seek to establish a vision but will fail. That was the Maccabees. They were Edomites,
Thanks for the information, but I don't know why it came out. I appreciate it though.
Yeah, I'm not an expert on any of this history stuff, so I yield to a lot of the things that you guys are saying, and then I just say I'm going to look into them after the show type of thing, or Google them while we're talking.
Come on here and show because a lot of people think they know. As you see, he think he know who people are and stuff. So I'm gonna do my showing. You can believe it or not. I wouldn't give a damn.
Yeah, I try to say it's okay if I don't know something instead of running with a topic that I'm not positive in, because there's no problem if any of us are uncertain in an area because we have strengths and weaknesses like everybody else in different points of the doctrines, But yeah, your history is a strength. Your history is a strength for you, Lewis. I'll give you that. But sometimes I do think, like I say, you add a little to like the history and create a doctrine from it. That's where we kind of part ways. But you're a smart guy and you're a nice guy. I just hope we can keep it amicable here. The Deuteronomy 28:68 thing. Did you see my debate with Zion Lex? Carl, I'm not trying to steer to a different topic. As long as whatever you want to talk about is fine.
No, it's all good. It's just
yeah. Actually, just a caveat. No, I did not. But what was your stance? I heard about it. I didn't get a chance to see it.
Yeah, no, I was trying to go ahead and finish, Carl, if you will.
No. Ryan, if you can address what was your stance on that? What was your hermeneutic?
Hey, let me give y'all if you look at whoever talking, the mic is either open or closed. You see somebody close their mic, that mean they quiet. You see them open their mic, even if you talking. Respect the mic when it come open.
Okay, so Ryan, what's your position on Deuteronomy 28:68?
Damn, Rabbi. Hey, I'm trying to set order. Do you understand that?
Well, I believe that it is a translating slave trade. That's my personal opinion. But
I hear what you're saying, but I'm trying to set order. And you popping your mic open and stuff, and I'm trying to show people how to fucking talk on the goddamn panel so you won't do the shit that you doing and pissing me off. You don't know how to slow down. You had some coke and shit before you came over here, and you just gotta act out. If you tell me you did some
coke, man, stop him out.
Huh?
Come on, man, let him live, bro.
No, I mean, the thing I'm doing, I'm trying to set order. So please just take time and understand what I'm saying. JJ mic is open now. My mic is open. Ryan mic is not open. And Rabbi Lewis mic not open. Now y'all do whatever you want to do. Do it in fucking order though, please. And don't be popping in and out and disrespected people.
Right. So can I say one thing?
Lewis, you can talk. He's not stopping you from talking.
Okay,
That is how you
show me.
frustrate me when you're on the show too. Is you keep saying, "Can you hear me?
Yo,
Can you hear
man,
me?"
y'all tripping. What's up, Mr. T?
Yeah, awesome. So, I'm sure you guys heard of Lenoye Burson's work, the Negro and the Jew by Lenoye Burson. She shows in her work how the Jews of Spain got kicked out of Spain in 1492, and they came through the transatlantic slave trade. Now, this documented by a PhD named Lenoye. I know you got that book, right?
No, I do not, Lewis. This is the obsolete trivia that I just said. I don't care for. No offense.
Yeah, so Lenoye Burson was a white lady from the 1970s. She said that the Negro claim to be Jewish is legitimate. That
So what? What does that prove?
She said that the Jews, when they got kicked out of Spain, the Sephardic Jews that came through the transatlantic slave trade, and she wrote that book in the 70s. You know,
You know those Jews went all throughout Europe. Also, they went to it because I prepared for that topic for the debate with Zion. There was about 200,000 Jews, and it was also because the Catholic Church was doing the Spanish Inquisition at the time. So it wasn't just the Jews that had to leave; it was anybody that wasn't.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah, the Moors left too. They were called Moriscos.
Yeah.
The Moriscos were Moors who converted to Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
They were called Moriscos. They were Mohammedan. But
so how do you prove those Jews are Israelites? That was my question, because a lot of them weren't bloodline Israelites. Those were a lot of white converted Jews. Also,
the Jews in Spain were black. They were jet black.
I would like to speak because
hold on, brother. The Jews of Spain were black. And not all the Jews, but some of the Jews of Spain were especially black. It's recorded history that they were dark. They had dark skin.
Quick question then, because this is what I want to talk about. You think all Jews are black?
No,
there's legitimate Jews out there that's white. You know why? Because they black father went fuck their white mother.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the prime minister of Russia, he said that the Jews in his land were a replica of the mulatto Negro in America. Yeah, he said that. He was from Russia. He said the Jews in Russia look like the mulatto Negro. You know, woolly hair, dark brown skin.
That's why I wanted to try to introduce that, because people don't talk about that. Negro Jews or Israelites went around having babies everywhere, and the Lord told them, leave them damn women there, and you get your ass out there and do what I told you to do. And they left them women and them babies back there, and them babies are theirs. As they like to say, the children are what the father are. Now, if it's a male, he create more of himself. If it's a female, then other people that go into it create what they create. But nobody talks about that in the religious world.
Right. So we have the documentation of how the Jews looked in Europe. The Spanish Jews were black, jet black, like, you know, black. Now the Jews in Germany and other parts of Europe, some of them were not black, but the Spanish Jews were black.
How do you have evidence from the 15th century that 200,000 Jews, there were more than 200,000 in the country, by the way, some of them converted to Catholicism. So how do you distinguish the ones that converted from the ones that didn't convert? So, you know what I mean? Like, where are your records? What do you find, like one or two people in history that fit your narrative and then make a whole doctrine that every single person in the population fits that racial profile?
No, there's a book called Hebrew Israel West Africa by Joseph J. Williams. He documents in his work, excellent book you should read, how the Jews were in West Africa and they were black. This is documented by the Hebrew Israel West by Joseph J. Williams. Yeah, must read. I'm a published author myself. I just dropped my new book called Negro to Hebrew, showing that we the true Israelites. So
shit. Please don't promote shit.
Okay, my apologies. So in the 6th century, when the Arabs, you know, the conquest of Islam started, right? So the Arabs had conquered Egypt, and there were Jews living there in Egypt, exiled. This is in the 6th century AD, right? Right. So they said that the Jews that were living there were black Nubians. I mean, they appeared Nubian or very black skinned. That's headshot. They were living in Egypt, and the Muslims had conquered Egypt in the 6th century, and they said that they were black, that the Jews living there had dark skin, were Nubian. No way around that.
Quick question. What are you? For us religion or nationality, however you want to say it.
Repeat that, brother Carl.
What are you?
What is the what?
What do you identify as far as religion? Where are you at now? You used to be a Muslim or a Hebrew.
No, I'm Shia sect.
You
What is?
said it too fast. What are you?
Shia, Islamic Shia sect.
Okay.
Right. So the Jews of Egypt were black. This is documented by the Arabs who conquered Egypt. There's no way around that. You know. Yeah, you got the fourth one.
What exactly do you think that disagrees with from what I've ever said? Have I ever argued that all the Israelites were white?
I don't know what your argument is. Can you reiterate what you believe?
Yeah, I've reiterated it on every time I've spoke on the topic. I've said I believe the ancient Israelites were predominantly what we would call black in today's society. So my stance in the debate for Deuteronomy 28:68, was it a fulfillment of the transatlantic slave trade, was that the Israelites who were eventually put into the slave trade weren't getting cursed from God, because God sent his Messiah, Jesus, who redeemed us from the curse of the law. In Galatians 3:13, it verbatim says Jesus redeemed us from the curse of the law. So I believe that the people that tragically got caught up in the slave trade that were likely ethnic Israelites, which I don't know the exact number, but of the 12.5 million, I can't see them being any more than 10% on a good day, if that, but that's just pure conjecture. So I shouldn't even put out a number like 10%, because I have no way to. It'd take a lot of work just to trace the numbers, and a lot of variables involved to that. But my point of the matter is they don't fit the Deuteronomy 28:68 curse, because the curse itself says this is being done by God foremost. It's being done as a reaction to people's sin. And then it's also being done by enemies of the Israelites. So if these people that are black Jews scattered throughout Africa were just living their lives and not committing any sin, then that's not the Deuteronomy 28:68 curse. If they got swooped up in the transatlantic slave trade and it wasn't directed by God or orchestrated by God, that's not the Deuteronomy 28:68 curse. If the people that took them in West Africa, or the Islamic countries, as you spoke of, or the European countries like Portugal, Britain, Denmark, so on, were not their enemies, then that's not the Deuteronomy 28:68 curse. So what I wanted Zion to do is to correlate the variables that the ancient Israelites did fulfill by having the Assyrians, who were their clear enemies, or the Babylonians, who were their clear enemies, where God himself spoke through the prophets saying, I am doing these things through these nations, Assyria and Babylon, to punish you for your sins. And then God spoke directly of the type of sins the ancient Israelites did commit, which are well listed throughout the whole Bible. So my stance was that is where the curses were fulfilled, because those are the variables that are required. And Zion did not provide me anything to persuade me that I was wrong.
Okay, so two things to that. First of all, when there was a runaway slave in Virginia, I believe it was, and the slave owner put out a PSA to find him, to catch him. You know what it said? It says that he was a Jew and he spoke Hebrew, right? So we know we were here. That's a fact, because he said his slave was Jewish and he spoke Hebrew. He was a black slave, right? Second thing, let me ask you a question, Ryan. Who was the Assyrian king that took the northern kingdom into captivity? What was his name?
Well, King Shalmaneser is the one who could finalize the conquer in 722.
The first Assyrian king that initially took them in.
Well, you asked me who conquered them, so I started there.
No, the first king who took them into slavery.
Okay, that's a different question. Who conquered them and who first started is a different question. You understand that's two different questions, right? Yeah, Tiglath-Pileser.
No, it was Esdras.
Okay, so you just want to argue about when it first started? Because all I had in my presentation is evidence of Tiglath-Pileser taking them in around 740 BC.
Okay, let's go to Esdras chapter 4.
I'm sure there was probably a prior start of them getting taken into captivity. How would that disprove my position, though?
Yes, I'll tell you why. Because you read Esdras chapter 4, the king that put the Syrian king that put the northern kingdom into slavery in Assyria, his name was Esdras. Now guess who Esdras' mother was?
Doesn't matter.
And you stop all that guessing stuff. If you need to know, See, you say ignorant motherfucker. This is what you need to know instead of putting it in the jeopardy because Alex Trebek is dead.
Oh man. Lewis, that was like, just time to
Yeah,
make
so
the point.
Esdras was the king of Assyria that sacked Samaria and took the northern kingdom. His mother was an Israelite. His mother, Esdras, the king of Assyria's mother, was from the northern kingdom. He was an Israelite himself on his mother's side. Interesting stuff. So the king of Assyria and enslaved the northern kingdom himself was an Israelite. His mother was northern concubine.
All right, there's a lot there in what you just said that I do not think historically has any validity. But just to entertain it, I will say that he may have started doing some of these, taking of the Israelites. But there's also, like I quoted within the Bible, from if you read 2 Kings chapter 16 to 18, it's going to document Tiglath-Pileser starting taking the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half tribe of Manasseh to areas in Assyria that are right on the river, right by the tributary of the Euphrates, and it's surrounded by water. And then his son finished the conquering King Shalmaneser. So yes, I'm sure the prior king, I am familiar with the name. It is in the Bible. Esarhaddon, or however you pronounce it, was also taking the Israelites into captivity. But for you to try to turn somebody who came from the Assyrian bloodline, and that is a well-documented thing within Assyrian history for like 1,000 years, for you trying to just claim that he's an Israelite is crazy and bizarre. And you would
It's not
have to
bizarre at all. Look
really...
it up. This is in the Britannica dictionary, which is the primary source. It says
All
that
right, I'll look it
Esdras'
up
mother.
right now. What's
Certainly,
this?
yeah. Go to Ezra chapter 4.
No, that's Apocrypha, right? Right. That's not how.
No, that's in the Bible, brother. Not Ezra. Ezra's in the Bible.
Ezra chapter 4, what verse?
Shoot, I think where it says Esdras, it should be was 4, 5, or 6. You'll see it. It says Esdras. You'll see it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty positive it's not gonna prove that he's an Israelite, but
No,
I'll
no,
entertain
his mother
it.
was. His dad was in the Syrian. His mother was in. Look it up real quick.
So
Read that for us.
if his mother wasn't his Israelite concubine, and his dad's an Assyrian, that means according to Numbers 118, he's an Assyrian.
Yeah, but let's read that. Go to Ezra 4. You should see Esdras' name. If you could just go to the point.
Again, the Assyrian king's lineage was well traced throughout history by the
If you can read
Assyrians.
that real quick in Ezra 4.
Yeah, Lewis, I didn't have it in my hand when you said it. I don't know if you're aware. It takes a little
Well,
bit
take
of
your time,
time
brother. Take
to
your time,
actually
brother.
get to these things.
Take your time, brother.
Wasn't sitting on my Ezra's chapter 4. First Ezra's or second Ezra's?
Ezra. Ezra 4.
Oh, you're talking about the one that's in the Bible, not the Apocrypha?
Correct. The 4th chapter. I don't know what verse it is. Either
Okay, all right, that's fine. Yeah. I thought you were talking about the Apocrypha, Ezra's. Okay, 4 what?
It should
4,
say
4, and 5?
I think it's verse 4, 5, or 6.
Okay, yeah, he's in none of those. He's in the Bible. Oh, he's in verse 2.
Yeah, read that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I'll start with verse 1. If Carl's not bothered by it. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that, and I didn't mean to say the wrong word there, Carl, apologies. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that he returned exiles, were building a temple to the Lord, the God of Israel, they approached Zerubbabel and the heads of the fathers' houses and said to them, "Let us build with you, for we worship your God as you do."
Stop there. That was the northern kingdom. Keep going.
Okay, and we have been sacrificing to him ever since the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, who brought us here.
Yeah. So remember, if you read 1 Kings 17, when the Israelites were misplaced, they put Gentiles in the land of Samaria. All right.
True.
So yeah. So if you look up, long story short, you look up Esdras' mother's genealogy. According to Britannica, she was an Israelite. She's from the northern kingdom. She was a concubine. So actually, he conquered his own people, which is interesting. Yeah.
That's not proven by the verse I just read at all. All it says is they've been worshipped.
No. I yield to that. I concede to that. I said you read Britannica or you read the Catholic Encyclopedia. It says that Esdras' mother was an Israelite.
So you're saying the king of Assyria was born from the concubine of an Israelite, a
Yes,
woman who
the
was a
Syrians
concubine?
had Israelite concubines. Like a concubine is like
I'm
a
sure they did. I'm sure they did.
yeah, just like a female slave, sex slave. Sorry to be crass.
I know what a
So
concubine
yeah,
is.
these people may not be privy. So she was a concubine in the house of the Assyrians.
All right, that's something we'll look into, Lewis. But again, if his father was an Assyrian, according to how Numbers 118, God's law teaches us, he'd still be an Assyrian. So it's an interesting historical point if true. Like I said, sometimes you have. I'll look into it. I'm not just saying it's true at the moment, but it still wouldn't negate the fact that he's an Assyrian. So what? And he's. Are you trying to debunk the fact that the Bible itself tells us that Assyria destroyed the northern kingdom? Like, where are you going with this? Is the other part.
Well, I mean, just a segue. I mean, you had a lot of kings who, like for example, Uriah the Hittite, who David killed to take Bathsheba. It calls him a Hittite, but he actually was an Israelite living in that land. So a lot of times out of 10 in the Bible, you'll see people called by the region they lived in, not their genealogy. Make sense?
Yeah. Now, quick question: where do you teach this shit at?
My published author myself with $50. You can just go to Amazon, type in Rabbi Lewis.
I know
You can
you're
read my
a
books.
author. What the fuck? We didn't talk. We talked about publishing and stuff. What the fuck? See, this is what he be trying to say, Ryan. We trying to have a conversation, man. We're not trying to get some goods off and shit because we got some shit on Amazon and stuff. So stop trying to promote your shit and talk to me if you want to talk.
Yeah, Lewis,
Okay.
the only thing I'll say, man, is sometimes conversations with you become overly unnecessarily competitive into obsolete areas. And it's not like you're trying to like just chill and have mutual conversation and, enjoy
That's
it.
what you be doing here, man. When you start trying to sell shit, it becomes another type of show. We used to have them shows. You want to sell some shit? Here go the show. Let's sell some shit. But this is not a sell some shit show.
Yeah. So more so on the topic, if you can, Lewis, like if you didn't see the debate, that's fine. But why do you think Deuteronomy 28:68 was fulfilled by the transatlantic slave trade?
Oh, certainly. I mean, that's a good question. So it's a good answer. When Christopher Columbus came over here, right? He thought he was in India. That's why he called the Native Americans Indians. He thought he was in India, right? So if you read the Bible study tools, it says this is BibleStudyTools.com. You know what it says about Egypt in the footnotes, right? Like you know what a footnote is, right? Hello?
Stop that shit. Tell him what a footnote is, and you'll know he know what the fuck a footnote is.
Yeah,
Stop
certainly. So
questions, man.
yeah, two things. So the footnote says on Bible study tools, if you look at the word Egypt, it says something interesting. It says equating Egypt to bondage because it became foundational to the children of Israel. Meaning they always looked at Egypt as a metaphor for bondage. This is not one West theology. This is on the Bible study tools. Let's recap. It says, equating Egypt to bondage became foundational to the children of Israel. Meaning they looked at Egypt as the synonym for bondage, right? So when Hashem is saying, he's saying, I'm going to take you to a situation like Egypt, but this time on ships, right? Now, most of the Egyptian gods in the pantheon have American animals. For example, Horus is the Apollando falcon, which is an American bird. Anubis is the Zolotl dog, which is native to the Americas. I mean, they had the other god. There's multiple gods that had American origins. Make sense? So actually, the ancient Egypt it found cocaine in the mummies' tombs, which is native to the Americas. I could just keep going. More of the story. America was Egypt. Literally, it was Egypt. It was called Egypt at one time.
Well, Lewis, one thing I'll say is I didn't make that argument against that in my debate. I agreed. Egypt is used as bondage. If you read the prophet Hosea, chapters 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, all those chapters repeatedly, Hosea keeps saying, you're going to go back to Egypt. And then in the same sentence or in the same context, it's always saying you're going to go eat unclean food in Assyria, or Assyria is going to be your king. And it'll mention Egypt. So God is clear through the prophet Hosea in chapters 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 that I showed in my debate. There's verses in each of those chapters. I can give you specifics right now if you need them. Hosea 8:13 and 9:3 are some I know right off the top of my head. Also 9:6. They all say Egypt is Assyria. That's God speaking through Hosea. Yeah. And then in Isaiah chapter 10, verses 24 through 27, God said he used Assyria as the rod of his anger, just like he did in Egypt, just like the Egyptians used to inflict the Israelites. So Egypt and Assyria is testified as bondage by both Hosea and Isaiah. So I didn't argue against that.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. I think I showed the fulfillment in the Bible. Do you agree that it was fulfilled by the Assyrians or not?
In terms of what, going back into Little Egypt?
Deuteronomy 28:68, going back into Egypt by your enemy, the verse, by ships. Was it fulfilled in Assyria?
Oh, yeah, but it's a reciprocal. It's a replica. It happens over and over again. It's the same curse playing out over and over again.
Okay, but you're acknowledging it did occur in Assyria, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, Zion Lex did not take that stance. In his opening round, he said it was a dual fulfillment. And then by the third round, he was mocking me, saying, Ryan showing pictures of the Israelites moving logs on boats, and he thinks that fulfills it. He hasn't shown Israelites going as. So Zion Lex tried to use that argument in his first round that it was a dual fulfillment. And then by the third round, he claimed that it was never fulfilled until the transatlantic slave trade in the 15th century.
No, I disagree. I bear witness that this is a reciprocal curse. It happens over and over again. It's not a one-time curse. It's just you're going to go back into slavery again on ships. It happened multiple times.
Well, I appreciate that you at least agree with the fact that Assyria.
But if you read the Jewish Encyclopedia of Diaspora, you familiar with that book? It's like an encyclopedia for like documenting what the children of Israel went after 70 AD. Make sense?
Who was responsible for those records?
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, it's called the Encyclopedia of Jewish Diaspora, which is an awesome effort by academia to document where the Israelites went in exile. Make sense?
Actually, no, because it's known as the scattered the lost tribes of Israel. So scholars that I'm aware of are unsure of where the Israelites went. I mean, they know generally the directions they went north, south, east, and west, obviously. But no, I don't know of any meticulous records that's tracking where the Jewish people went after 70 AD. So I disagree with that. Yeah.
Well, if you read, and I document not to plug my work, I document this in my work. Now this is the Jewish Encyclopedia of Diaspora. It says that remember when the Sephardi Jews got kicked out of Spain, they sent letters to King John II in Portugal, right? So he told him get rid of them Jews in Portugal as well, right? So the Jewish Encyclopedia documents this as historical. You know what it says? It says that the ethnic Jews were in Portugal, right? Right, and here's the headshot. But they mixed in with black people and became dark skinned. So I'm not making this up, guys. So the Jewish Encyclopedia, which is written by scholars, acknowledged that the Portuguese Jews were ethnic Israelites, but they had intermarried with black people in the islands. And here, thus they are today. Interesting stuff.
Yeah. And I want you to engage with Carl, but I'm just trying to answer your question so you don't think I'm avoiding any. And I also will try to bring Carl into the conversation because he's being very patient. It's his own channel, so we shouldn't act like me and you are having a private conversation.
Y'all have fun. I mean, as long as it's respectful and done right, everything cool. I'm seeing that.
All right, I appreciate your discipline and patience. The James 119 that I'm terrible at, Carl. So, I was just saying if I was in your position, I wouldn't have the ability to lay back this long. But Lewis, like I said, the Spanish Inquisition is a big reason why those Jews were exiled from Spain and Portugal. So that doesn't fit Deuteronomy 28:68 because if it was really Deuteronomy 28:68, those Jewish people would be doing sins against God that would provoke God to orchestrate them getting exiled from that land and getting cursed. But what actually happened in history was just the Catholic Church was acting evil and wicked and persecuting not just the Jews, but anybody in the country. They put to death, when I was doing my research, 200,000 to 1 million Gnostics during the same time because they weren't converting to the Catholic dogmas. And that's an overlooked fact here, that you're trying to act like, well, they were just targeting the Jews. No, that's very historically inaccurate. And again, you'd have to show a sin, like say, hey, they're doing this, they're committing idolatry. Oh, they're murdering a lot of people. Show me one sin those Jews did that would tie it into Deuteronomy 28:68.
Oh, certainly. Two things to that. First of all, they found a Torah in West Africa amongst the Igbo tribe, which have been acknowledged as the children of Israel. They found a Torah written in Aramaic. That they found it's still there to this day. That they were reading the Torah. Second thing, if you go to Genesis chapter 49, it tells you Jacob told his sons will befall them in the last days. You know, so he said that. Anyway, the prophecy says that the children of Israel will be into idolatry in the last days. You know, what they were doing was they were mixing paganism with the Bible. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. So your theory is they didn't do that. They were obedient to God for the first 1,400 years, but all of a sudden, because God didn't curse them onto ships in the first 1,400 years, but all of a sudden in the 15th, like right at the turn of the 15th century, that's when they really did just stray from God. And then God used the Catholic Church to orchestrate the Spanish Inquisition to do Deuteronomy 28 curses to ethnic Israelites. That's the theory?
No. The prophecy said that the Satan will be loose for a short season. In Revelations. We know what that's talking about, right?
Revelation has nothing to do with the Deuteronomy 28:68 curses.
Of course it does. Of course it does, brother.
Okay, correlate it. Connect it. Show me.
So John Revelator said that Satan will be loose for a short season. That's talking about the Renaissance era. You know, the Dark Ages is called the Dark Ages because black people ruled Europe for 1,000 years. You know, the Byzantine Empire was ran by black Jews, black people of color. So in 1492, they get defeated by the Turks, and the Renaissance era started. So the Renaissance is when white people took the planet back from the children of Israel. The Bible calls white people Satan. Sorry to be graphic, you know, yeah. So
you mean ignorant, not graphic?
Yeah. So he said the Satan will be loose for a short season, which is talking about the Renaissance era. So white people will take the planet back for a short amount of time until Christ will return to put us back in power. Yes.
So your theory is God used the devil like an angel to persecute a small segment of Jews because, like I said, they went throughout Europe. They went into other countries in Europe, Greece, Italy, other nations, and then of the 200,000 that you're trying to identify, some of them went into Western Africa or Northern Africa. So let's just throw out a ballpark number. Let's say 25% of them, which is probably a high population. 50% of them ended up in that region. You still haven't told me the sin besides you're just saying a vague, oh, they were doing idolatry. Okay, well, weren't they going to be doing that for the first 1,400 years if that was the case? Or, what caused the sudden 180 shift in the 15th century? They became pagan, but for 1,400 years they were obedient. Why did they abandon their faith? What can you give me a reason why they would abandon their faith after 1,400 years of obedience?
It's right. Thoughts and opinions of these tools are not the thoughts and opinions of Israel Doctrine Entertainment Channel.
It's like when you got an infomercial on your TV station, you got to tell. I hear you. You got to tell them I do not subscribe to the stuff these guys are selling on my channel right now at 3 a.m. Lewis, I don't want to totally go crazy left field with you on all these little nuances of everything. Like, we could definitely have a more in-depth conversation in the future on my channel. I do want to get Carl involved in some of this. So why don't you direct some questions towards him? Because I got to get up and grab a quick drink myself. So engage with Carl if you may.
No, if y'all over, we'll cut it off. I mean, Carl ain't in the engagement right now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll stay with you for a little bit longer because I'm not trying to take this for a long time either. At the moment, we've been doing it for an hour and a half as is. Um, yeah. No, Yochanan Israel. I did ask that question in my second round. Actually, I asked why. Well, actually, it might have been my first round where I asked it. I asked why weren't the Jews that were dispersed in Ethiopia and all throughout the Mediterranean also get cursed. So yeah, I did ask that. And no, Zion Next did not address that. And yeah, I don't know how people weren't confused by the fact that Zion Next never said a number when I kept asking him over and over again from round 1 to round 3. Can you please just give me an estimate of how many Israelites you think went onto the slave ships? Because there's 12.5 million total slaves, rough estimate. And he said Israelites went on slave ships. So that could be 2 or that could be 12.5 million. And he never narrowed it down. He never said 100,000. He never said 1 million. He never said 5 million. The only answer he gave me was finally after the 3 rounds in the question and answer. I asked that as my first question, and he sarcastically said 12 million. And then my very next question, when I tried to follow up on what he just said, was, why do you think God cursed that amount of people? And he said, I never said that. I never said that. You'll never find me on tape saying that. And just out of general respect, I said, okay, maybe I misheard you, when the tape itself testifies to what he did and what he said. And it was just a totally weird thing that he never thought his thesis needed to define any sort of ballpark number. Because if I was in his position, just for instance, I would say, hey, yeah, Israelites went on the slave ships. There was 100,000 in, wherever, West Africa, this country. There's 100,000 here. There's another 100,000 here. I could show you sins that this 100,000 did. Look at the gods they were worshiping. See, they weren't worshiping God, so he cursed them. He didn't do that, and it was just weird. That he didn't think that was important, but again, he appealed to emotion, and a lot of people just went by that. And he also made the thing like he doesn't have sources, which was just a lie. I had sources. I was using the Bible, which is a primary source. I had sources for my statistics. I showed Assyrian reliefs, which are artifacts and archaeology that are very good sources because we use them to substantiate all that is written down. So everything that's written in the Bible then gets substantiated by the archaeological evidence that we find. So I provided a bunch of sources, but he considered sources to be biblical commentaries from Jewish teachers, which I won't say rabbi because we're only supposed to call Jesus rabbi, in the 13th century. So it was really a bizarre tactic that unfortunately a lot of people in the audience bought and claimed that, I didn't bring sources when I was the only one who had actual sources. His idea of sources were biblical commentaries from Jewish people in the Dark Ages. He's asking, is this directed towards me? Do you know the verse to the sword to captivity? Yeah, I'm familiar with that verse. Yeah, I mean, people see that's the problem, Yochanan. No disrespect, but I think people eisegete into the text that this fits my life, this fits my narrative, so they can read Deuteronomy 28 and say cursed in the city, and then be like, I'm in Vietnam and I'm cursed in the city, so now I identify as an Israelite. And I definitely should have spent not a little more. I should have spent time on that in the debate. I had it in my presentation, but I didn't have enough time, or I didn't allocate the time right, so I didn't spend enough time on it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to deny anybody who wants to identify in that way. I'll just say it's not fair for other people to have to accept that as a legitimate reason, because it can pertain to anybody, and who can say whose opinion's better than the others. Sorry to be so long-winded with it. I mean, cursed in the city. What person on earth can't say that in what country? No, it can apply to everybody. So you got to be more specific if you're going to use the curses, in my opinion. I don't think using the curses is a good methodology at all, because the chapter has blessings in it, And another thing is, my friend Lou the other day said a brilliant thing on my show. He said Deuteronomy 28 is not a prophecy. It's a covenant. And I wish I had talked to him before the debate and said that, because it's profound and it's brilliant. Because Deuteronomy 28:68 was not a prophecy. That wasn't destined to happen. That only happened because it was a covenant and the Israelites broke the covenant. So God punished them. If they had only been obedient, the blessings would have been all that they received. So whenever somebody words Deuteronomy 28:68 as a prophecy, it's incorrect. And that was such a profound thing my friend Lou said. So I'm always going to give him credit whenever I say it, because it's not my own thought. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to keep rambling here either, guys. I don't know if Carl's still around or if Lewis, you're still.
Yeah, I'm here. Ryan, let me say this. I would like to set a date with me and you can build. So when Judah Nazareth do that bullshit that he doing, trying to put us together, if we sit down and build and agree upon some things, we go over there with the Torah Knight's ass.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That way we can sort through things that we might want to talk mutually with him about, or, you know, whatever his little tag team idea.
Yeah, likewise, Ryan, we could do an exchange too whenever you're available.
Yeah, you're welcome to come back, Lewis, as long as, you know, we stay on the same page. But yeah, Carl, 100% on that. I'm with you on that. I respect how you talk, your directness, your respect, your patience. You're an elder of mine. I can learn a lot from you. I'm glad me and you both mutually were able to get past the first situation where I didn't show up. You know, I apologize.
The fact that no Israelites, we talked about it. We dealt with the color thing, and I felt like, damn, I hit a home run with it more than any Israelite out there, because everybody want to debate. It ain't about debate. We need an iron sharpen iron discussion sometime, but nobody want to sharpen nobody. They just think they know shit and trying to throw shit at people. And if you a man, you ain't accepting certain shit. I don't give a fuck what you say. Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, man. The church, the early church had disagreements, but they were one more than they were separate. You know, the apostles. You know, so we should strive towards that. You know.
So we'll set up some time. I know how to reach you. So
okay, yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry.
Right about
Ryan, you got my number too, right, Ryan?
Huh?
Ryan, you got my number, right?
Just hit me on just stay on YouTube. I don't know if I have your phone number anymore, Lewis.
Right about Lewis, long time. I see you still doing what you do, though.
Consistency is the key. Good to hear you, brother. It's been a minute.
Yeah,
Carl.
all of us, this stuff is still the same. You can reach me. We just ain't talked in a while.
You already know. Definitely hit you up, brother.
Yeah, I've been an asshole. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. That's the show. We finna head up out of here. I appreciate everybody coming over to the show and everything. I got a little video to close out with. I made this about Judah.
I can't wait. I'm gonna sit back for this one. I appreciate you having me on, Carl, and we'll definitely build in the future, God willing.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yo, what's up? Check this out. Yo, homicide is legal. Death is a penalty. One justifies the homicide when he dies in his own iniquity. It's the master of the mantis rapture coming at y'all. We have an APB on an MC. Looks like the work of a master. Evidence indicates that it's worthless like a terrorist, hard to capture the flow. Changes like a chameleon, blends like a friend and stabs you like a dad. Yo, what's up? Check this out. Yo, homicide is legal. Death is a penalty. One justifies the homicide when he dies in his own iniquity. It's the master of the mantis rapture coming at y'all. We have an APB on an MC.